you've been living in an English-speaking country for over a year now, or maybe over 5 years, but every time when you open your mouth to speak English, you still feel kind of insecure about not having the right words. You still worry about people judging you for your accent, or you're kind of still second-guessing all the grammars you have. And overall, you're still not fully comfortable about your whole identity of being a non-native speaker in this country, even after you've been living here for so many years. Does that sound familiar? Now, what if I tell you this whole being a second language speaker thing can be played to advantage and even be an edge that a native speaker can never have? So if you're gonna stick with me for around 10 minutes, I'm gonna explain to you how. But why should you even care? Because if you're able to incorporate this concept and also maybe internalize it, it'll actually help you to move in the English world on your own terms. Basically being more grounded, being less affected by the environment, and also being able to affect things as you want and also gain the outcomes and results as you want. Now, before we dive in, if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Carl, and I make content to share my personal learnings and lessons in my career, English, self-improvement, as well as personal development. So if these are something you're interested in, consider following me. So overall, this video is going to be 3 things. And first of all, you're going to start with an important mindset shift, which is the foundation of everything else. And then building on top of that, I'm going to introduce you to this interesting concept called pricing in a vacuum, which is the key in helping you reshaping your second language speaker identity to something of your advantage. And then ultimately, it's about how to apply this in the long term and make some long-lasting changes. Well, first of all, let's just be real. If you're someone that was born and raised in a non-English speaking country, most likely you're never going to sound like someone that was born and raised in New York City, London, or LA, right? And even just take a step back, comparing with someone that moved to an English speaking country at a young age, or someone that went to international school and been studying there for most of their young age. Like, there's no way you can sound like them. And honestly, why should you? And I'm not saying that you should use these as excuses so you stop working hard on the language, but I think the bottom line is you shouldn't be ashamed of your own language style, or at least you shouldn't blame yourself for it. The way I see it, English is supposed to be something that serves my life, and definitely not something that make me feel shitty about myself. And essentially there's some knowledge I want to learn, maybe some videos I want to watch, and some people I want to meet, a whole world that I want to explore, or some hobbies I'm excited about. I really just see English as a way to get there, some keys to those solutions, just a means to an end. And those are the real reasons and motivations for me to practice. So basically, I'm coming at this with a genuine drive, with a real curiosity. It's like, I don't watch videos because someone else told me, hey, your English is going to improve if you watch this. I watch videos because I genuinely care about them. I'm genuinely interested in them. And I do things that I want. This is the kind of energy that's going to stick long term. And is my English perfect? Obviously not, right? But I only look at this at its face value. It's like, me being not perfect in my English only means that occasionally when I'm talking to people in a conversation, it might be a little trickier for me to get my points across. And that's it. And I'll focus my mind and attention on how to make it work. Essentially, I'll try to figure out how to make the conversation fun, engaging, and also meaningful, at the same time making my points across, right? Despite their language gaps here and there, the words are not perfect. And no, I don't need to have the perfect grammar or know a million vocabs to make it work. And when it comes to learning English, there's a lot to it. And that's actually a huge topic, which I might talk about in the future. But I think for now, the first step is to stop feeling ashamed of yourself. And once you're starting to feel different about yourself, we can take it further to the idea of pricing in a vacuum, which is the idea I actually read from a book from Alex Hormozi, who is a very successful YouTuber and entrepreneur. Even though this idea originally comes from business terms, I think it's super transferable and applicable in helping reframing how the world values you. And it basically means making yourself one of a kind. So it's literally impossible for you to compare yourself directly with others on the same scale. And that ties back to your non-native speaker identity. In business, if you're selling commodity product, you're pretty much just compete on the price, which is a race to the bottom. And that is what happens when you're matching yourself on others' frames and metrics, particularly when those are your weaknesses. And what does that mean to you? So if you're to apply this concept to yourself in this scenario, you're basically judging your worth only by measuring your English fluency with native speakers, where probably you are still struggling with grammar, vocabularies, while the other people already have the perfect flow or rhythm. In this case, you're literally just treating yourself like a commodity. It's like when I was doing interviews, when I was asking, tell me about one of your weaknesses, and some of the candidate literally said, I'm not a native speaker and my English is not good enough. And that's not really a good answer. To be honest, I don't really think that's an okay answer. And I think people are gonna realize everyone's got a whole damn package, right? You got your own story, you got your own perspectives that other people cannot fake. And for people that's living in a different country, it's very likely they have been through this huge discomfort when they are changing their environment completely, which means that they're probably able to pivot faster with new environment. They're able to tackle ambiguity better than all those native speakers. And then on top of everything we just mentioned here, all the good stuff, you can also speak English, right? You can communicate in a second language. And why do I think this concept is helpful? Because it allows you to be valued in a category of one, which is making it really hard for someone else to compare you directly with another person on one single scale, and particularly your language ability. And this whole thing is going to increase your perceived value and making it easier to stand out. And there's actually countless examples of this. So when I was solo traveling, I usually stay in a hostel because it's easier to meet people. And for every single place I went, it's very likely that I met someone that's not from an English background, where they speak pretty broken English. Their English is not even close to being perfect. They have some very thick accent. But those things are not taking away, like they're not stopping them from being charismatic and charming. Like people just like hanging out with these people and we like being around them. We like hearing them talking about their stories. And what is special about them? One thing I noticed was they mostly have a very strong sense of identity. And maybe this is a question you can ask yourself, like, how much are you embracing your identity? Because this was actually one of a big mistake I was making when I first moved abroad, because I was hanging out with a bunch of native people and I was trying so hard to blend in. Back in the days, I didn't realize that, you know, having different anecdotes, having my own perspectives, having those little fucked ups in my language learning journey can make me more relatable and authentic. And overall, I think this is about shifting your attention and focus from how perfect is your English to what unique perspectives are you bringing. And obviously, storytelling is very important in this process. So now you understand this concept. What are you supposed to do to incorporate and internalize this? And just like mastering any skill, long-term growth is more about the process and experience and less about outcome. So every single conversation, every single presentation, every time you go to a coffee shop, every single little small talks can be a puzzle piece that you put together. And just imagine a year from now, how different would you feel if you keep stacking these little small wins? So there you have it. And now you have a better understanding of how to play around your second language speaker identity and use it as an edge, which most people don't have. So just to summarize, you start with this mindset shift, followed by this whole concept of pricing in a vacuum, and then you internalize this over time. So that's the end of this video. I hope that's helpful. And if you like it, please drop a like and consider following me. My name is Carl. I'll see you guys in the next.